Welcome to Mission to Inspire, where we share life experiences in our careers, personal lives, society, culture, religion, finance, family, and much more. Meet your host, Shola Ajabadi, as she takes you on a ride to fuel your inspiration.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mission to Inspire. This is Shola, your host, and I've got a very special guest with me today, all the way from Germany. Her name is Kathleen. Hi, Catherine. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you, Shola. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on our show. Catherine is a certified life coach and a climate change coach as well. She helps eco-conscious people turn climate anxiety into empowered and effective action for them to live more sustainably and become happier than ever before. So from that short intro, you can, see that we're going to be talking about climate change, living sustainably, living clean, basically. So, Catherine, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Elaborate a little bit so that we can know you.
Yeah, thank you, Shola. So first of all, welcome to everyone who's listening. Also from my side, it's a pleasure to be on this show and to get to talk about what I do. Yeah. Yeah, as you said, I'm a certified life coach, and I've experienced, of course, all these issues that I'm now coaching people on myself in my own life. And that is when I kind of thought, okay, if I'm suffering from eco-anxiety and I found a way to, turn that around and to not get bogged down and debilitated by that anymore, but to turn that into constructive action, to actually, do something, change my life, live more sustainably, and reduce my carbon footprint and just join the fight against climate change with whatever I can contribute to that. I thought, if I feel like that and if I manage to do that successfully, probably there are other people out there who are feeling the same, who would be benefiting or who would want to learn how to do the same thing. And that is when I decided to, dedicate my coaching career to, help support the fight against climate change and to help people, become part of the solution, really, in fighting it.
Ah, great. So was that why you chose climate change as a path in your coaching career?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I used to be exactly in this space that I'm now helping people out of, which is, being really bogged down and really struck deeply with climate anxiety. And for me, it happened, it's now 5 years ago, when the 2018 climate change United Nations climate change panel report came out, which is the one that said that, I mean that is 2018, that we have 12 years left. Wow. Now obviously 5 years less than that to turn things around on, the way we live as humans on planet Earth, to avoid the worst consequences of climate change. And then this report and the news coverage about it, and specifically this deadline, for me was like the starting point of my own eco-anxiety journey. And it really affected my life deeply on a day-to-day basis. I was, I couldn't think about anything else anymore. My husband and I were planning for a family at the time. I was questioning having children at all. I was questioning whether I was in the right career, whether I should change careers and find something that is going to be more helpful, to be, to help solve this immense problem. And I also undertook a long journey on trying to get help on that, therapy and mentoring, and finally I found this type of coaching that I'm now qualified and certified in, and that really was, for me, the starting point of being able to understand my emotions, specifically climate anxiety, where it comes from, what's going on for me when I'm feeling that, and how I can overcome that in a way, not that I'll get rid of it, because we never going to get rid of anxiety. It's just this primal reaction of our brain that we can't fully eradicate from our being. But what we can do, and what, as I said, I managed to learn how to do with the help of this type of coaching that I'm now practicing and teaching people as well, is how to, you know, take the anxiety off the driver's seat of your life and move it to the passenger side of your life. So, you know, imagine driving a car, and now you still have the anxiety, the climate anxiety, which is, you know, shouting from the passenger side and is criticizing your style of driving, and, oh, have you seen that red light, and go faster, go slower. No, you don't, you know, doing all this sort of annoying commentary, but it's you who are driving. So it's you who is driving. It's not the anxiety anymore that is controlling your life and holding you back from whatever you want to do. It's learning how to live with the anxiety and how to, you know, give that a space in your life that is more aligned with what you want to create and what you want to do in your life. So that really was like the pivotal moment for me to understand that anxiety is just a natural reaction. It's just what my brain does. There is nothing wrong with me if I have it. There is nothing wrong with it being there. And I'm not sick. I'm not abnormal in any way if I'm feeling anxiety of any type, specifically not with regards to climate change. And then I can move forward from there and take action regardless. I can do it anyway. I can let the anxiety be present and just do what I want to be doing anyway. And that really was for me the biggest turning point that I had in this journey.
Wow. That is so interesting. Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It must have been a very big deal for you back then in 2018.
Yeah.
But then to be able to use that now to empower people to solve that same issue that you were in at that point. Yeah. So it's really, very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So what is sustainable living?
So sustainable living is my second coaching focus. So the first is, as I said, you know, helping people with climate anxiety and, you know, turn that into what they want to feel instead, and what they want to do. And hopefully also, you know, I will be inspiring people to live more sustainably, as I have done as well. And for me, sustainable living really means reducing your impact, your negative impact on the planet as much as possible. And this is my second focus. So I help people who have, you know, once they have overcome the eco-anxiety, or even people who never really have felt it, but just say, okay, I'm done with watching the world burn, and I want to be doing my part in it, and you know, help me, you know, look at my life and evaluate where we can make changes that don't require me to, you know, go off, live like in a yurt in the middle of the forest, but, you know, do it with, let's say, like tiny tweaks in the beginning, but then, you know, tweaks that can grow into more. I help people with that as well. And for me, as I said, sustainable living is reducing the impact of your life, of your everyday life, of your human existence, of you enjoying your life at the same time, and doing that with as little negative impact on the planet as possible in terms of use of natural resources, trash generation, you know, just pollution of any type. And yeah, that is what I'm helping people with as well.
Right. Wow. Sustainable living. It's a very, very wide and vast topic, to be honest.
Totally.
Yeah, from what you said.
I also want, sorry, I just want to add, like, for me, sustainable living is actually about two things. It's like a double sense of the word, if you want. So it's sustainable in the sense that it is, you know, as I said, using less natural resources, but it's also sustainable in a sustainable way, in the sense that I will be able to keep this up for for a long-term scenario. It's not just, you know, me, for example, remembering to turn the lights off today when I'm, leaving a room, it's, making this like a lifelong habit so that it doesn't even become like this thing that I have to, actively remember doing, or it's just, for example, I can give a good example of this. A good example would be living a bit more minimalistic. For example, in my own life, like back in, I don't know, years back, I used to be like a compulsive shopper. So, I would go every weekend if I didn't have anything better to do, really. I would, meet up with a girlfriend and friends, and we would just go shopping on the weekend, just browse the stores. And I didn't really need anything. It was just this type of pastime for me. I was just gonna go and go into, I don't know, Zara and H&M and even higher brand stores and just spend my money on stuff. I would come home with at least 1 or 2 bags each weekend with stuff that I just like that I then ended up not even wearing, or I even forgot about that I had it. So I would just put it into my closet, into my wardrobe, and then it would kind of sit there, and maybe I would wear it, maybe not. So and today I'm the exact opposite, because today I've through all this coaching and all this work that I've been doing on myself, I realized that the shopping and the consuming that I did before was just a way for me to deal with my emotions, with boredom, with stress, with some type of sort of, sadness, or I would just sort of distract myself and cover that up with consumption. In my case, clothes and shoes and bags and, fashion, basically.
Yeah.
And once I learned that I didn't need all these external material things to be happy, because now with, the help of coaching and mindset tools and all these things that as I said, that I know now how to do, and how I'm, that I know now how to teach people as well, so they can do it for themselves. I managed to give myself from within myself all these emotions that I was looking previously to all these clothes that I kept buying to give me. And once you've realized that, giving up the shopping isn't even hard anymore. In fact, it becomes the automatic normal thing. And my life is now so much better without it, because I'm not spending my money anymore. I'm not cramming my space up with stuff that I have to declutter and get rid of later on. I just have this little really clean and sort of, curated wardrobe that has only pieces in it that I absolutely love wearing. And if they get broken, or I will repair them, or sew them and that kind of stuff. So it really is a so much better and lighter and happier way of living. And as I said, this has come purely from this internal shift, and it did not require me to give anything up that I loved, or that I wasn't depriving myself or anything. It didn't feel at all like what people usually associate with living more sustainably, because in this public discussion, living more sustainably, living more environmentally conscious, having this lower carbon footprint, like, is associated with giving up, depriving yourself, not having any quality of life anymore, not being allowed to enjoy any luxuries of life anymore. And once you realize that maybe you don't really need many things that you've previously thought were absolutely indispensable from your life, you actually really don't need them anymore. And it doesn't really feel like any type of loss in happiness or quality of life in just giving them up, just getting rid of them, getting rid of the stuff that doesn't serve you anymore. That's sort of the mantra. If you're getting rid of all the stuff that doesn't serve you in your life, physical, material, external, but also, of course, internal and mental, you will have the most sustainable life, because it's not only going to require less resources to live your life, as I said, you're not spending money on stuff anymore, but you will also be sustainable in the second sense of the word that I mentioned. You will be able to keep this up and, transform your life for the long term, forever, because it's just this complete transformation that you're undergoing. And that is that is just a wonderful process to live through, as I've done, or also to witness in people, in my clients.
Wow. That is so true, actually. It is so true because considering what you just said, sustainable living is not just about physical aspects. So it's to do with us as well, to do with what we're going through. So emotionally, mentally, what we're thinking, everything. So I've always considered sustainable living, environmental change to be physical things that we can see, touch, things around us and that we need to change our attitude. But from what you've said, you've actually educated me now. It's not just that.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, why is it important then to adapt to the changes of sustainable living?
Well, I'm not a scientist, of course. I'm not a climate scientist, but if you're looking anywhere in the direction of climate science, I mean, the logical and probably the only conclusion that is possible to be derived from what is out there on the internet to be read about climate change and biodiversity and all of that is that we just can't go on like that if we want to survive as a species. And I mean, we are talking about our actual human survival over beyond the end of the century. So if we are going to continue living like we are now with this type of resource consumption and polluting, oceans and nature, and I mean, for example, our food chains won't be supported anymore because we don't have the insects anymore that, the bees and all of that. So it's just this huge sort of pyramid, like this house of cards that, is that is our ecosystem, that is our planet, and we keep pulling out card after card and expecting to have the house of cards to still be upheld, and that's just, at some point, it's just not going to be happening anymore. So I think that we do need to change the way we are living. There is a big discussion, of course, around, individual responsibility versus sort of, responsibility of businesses and governments and politics and corporates and all of that. And so, like a lot of people think, okay, well, why should I bother as an individual if, for example, the government is approving new oil fields and all of that, or China is, the biggest polluter worldwide? What am I going to do, little me in, I don't know, village XYZ, so, and I get that. I totally understand that. But what I want to say to that is, first of all, I don't think we have the time anymore to waste on discussing who should move first and who should, so I think at this point in time, I mean, as I said, 2018 was 12 years from this report. Now we have 2023. So we have, like, if we're lucky, we have 5 to 7 years. That's like half time now. And CO2 emissions haven't really gone down at all. During those 5 years, in fact, they've actually increased with like this little blip during COVID because of the lockdown. So first point, we don't have we don't have any time to waste anymore about who should move first. And secondly, we also tend to vastly underestimate what we as individuals can actually do. So science tells us that almost a quarter of all emissions caused worldwide is directly responsible or directly caused by individual consumption choices of individuals in their day-to-day household life. And that's a conservative estimate. If you count the indirect emissions, for example, driving a petrol car, which will, foster oil, digging up oil and, converting that into petrol, probably the proportion is even higher. It could even, I've read science statistics that said that even 70% of global carbon emissions can be directly or indirectly attributed to individual consumption. And that is such a big number that I'm thinking, okay, what if we, could also as individuals do something about climate change while and at the same time as we are advocating for governments and big businesses to change? Like one element doesn't preclude the other. In fact, I think we need both elements. As I said, we don't have the time anymore to do only one without also doing the other. And from what I've also seen in my personal life, because I was the person like in my whole social circle, let's say, I was the first to, you know, read this report and become worried about climate change, and then actually, you know, taking concrete steps to change something in my life. And, you know, my friends started to see me doing that and also saw me not being sad or, you know, deprived and, you know, having to go off live, like, as I said, in a yurt in the woods with my family. And they started to ask me like, okay, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Can you show me how to do this too? And it really did start this ripple effect, like just in my individual circle of friends. And now I have this, you know, my girlfriends keep, you know, we have this like WhatsApp group, and we you know, they keep sending me now, oh, have you seen this new I don't know, plastic free shampoo bar, or I've now found this renewable energy supplier for, you know, our city, have you checked it out? So, or this new app of some sort of zero waste supermarket that's not, you know. So what I'm saying is it really has started like this mini movement just in my private community. And of course, with the coaching that I'm now doing, I'm hoping to multiply that. You know, I'm actually in the process of launching a membership coaching program that's going to be opening its doors for the first time in March, and from then periodically, and, you know, every 3 months or so, I think. And I'll be in this coaching program. I want to both teach people about sustainable living, about what they can concretely and like actionably do in their private or professional life to reduce their carbon footprint, to inspire others how to do it too. But I also want to coach people on how to do that, because I think personally that the question is not, or the problem with sustainable living is not so much about finding things to do. You can Google, for example, if you Google reusable water bottle, plastic-free bottle, you will have probably 5,000 hits, you know. So it's not about finding a reusable water bottle. It's about developing the mindset to bringing it with you every day, cleaning it, you know, having it with you as part of your lunch package, for example. Make that a habit, and like develop the mindset of someone who does that regularly, daily, on a daily basis for the rest of their life, basically. So, you know, so it's about the mindset, it's about the coaching, it's about actually doing it, it's about developing the habits. And that is the second element of this coaching program. It's the teaching portion, what to do concretely. And secondly, how to actually implement that, how to get that done, how to overcome all the things mental things, emotional things, like action things, goal setting, procrastination, money mindset. I don't have enough time to do that. My family is not on board. How do I manage, you know, other family members being completely against me, changing all of that? How do I navigate that? How do I overcome that? And what do I do about it? And of course, the climate anxiety part will also be covered, because, you know, I think climate anxiety is this totally under recognized or under talked, like not enough talked about mental health problem that is building up right now. Because I mean, climate change is not going to get better by next year. Let's face it, it's going to take longer if we are going to be able at all to turn it around. But this is going to be taking longer than just a few months or weeks. So this problem is going to exacerbate, and we have to deal with that. And we have to still be able to function as people, as a society, as, you know, if we're not able to function, we won't be able to look and implement for solutions. And that's what we need, because otherwise, and if we all just stick in the head in the sand, nothing's going to happen. So as I said, so with this coaching program, I'm hoping to you know, help people with the two pillars, both what to do and what is the most effective thing that I can do with my personal individual situation, with my professional knowledge, my skill sets, my relationship scenario, my family values, religion, all these kinds of things, and how do I actually get this implemented and on the street as a long-term, sustainably long-term lifestyle change.
Lifestyle change. Wow. So that starts with us, starts with me, starts, us, whoever it is. It starts with that person. Okay.
Of course, yeah. Everything starts with us. Like if we, as like you, the person who's listening to this, if you are not going to change, how do you expect everyone else to change? So if we want to have change, if we want to see change in the world, we have to be the change. And who better than you? Like, I don't want to leave the future of my child and myself up to other people. I want to have a say in how it will look like. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Wow. Wow. That brings me to ask this question. So if people want to contact you, what's the best way to contact you regarding coaching?
Yeah. So I'm sure you'll put the URL links in the show notes, but I'm reachable on my website, www.katharinahellmann.com. It might be a bit difficult to spell. So at my second URL that people can find me on, both on Instagram, that's also my Instagram handle, but also my website, it's Eco Anxiety Coach. So it's www.ecoanxietycoach.com. And that's also my Instagram handle. And that will forward to the actual website and the actual Instagram profile, just because, my name, as I said, might be a bit hard to spell for a non-German listener. And and on my website, I offer free resources. I offer a free guide with the 50 most effective things people can actually do to reduce their carbon footprint without even having to change their life significantly. I offer a monthly free webinar, like a masterclass, a coaching masterclass on different topics, coaching topics around sustainable living that are standing in the way of sustainable living. And of course, on my website, I also have links to both one-on-one coaching, which I also offer, and this program that I just mentioned, which will be launching in March, beginning of March. It's called the Sustainable Living Society. So it's a membership coaching program where I'll be teaching both the how and the how to implement of sustainable living.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. So we all know how to contact Katharina. She's giving us our website address, our social media handle, and also I'll be posting that in the description as well. So you see that as well, so that you'll be able to contact her.
Thank you for joining us today on Mission to Inspire. Subscribe if you have not already done so. Like, comment, leave a message. Let's stay connected. Let's jointly inspire the world.